welcome to the Governor's Awards for the Historic Preservation Ceremony. Additionally, for all those who are not aware, this is Preservation Month, so happy National Historic Preservation Month to you all. My name is Ryan Shoemaker, and I serve as the State Historic Preservation Officer for the state of Michigan and lead the State Historic Preservation Office in its efforts. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome everyone to Heritage Hall. I would also like to special welcome to those who are participating virtually in this live streaming presentation. If you're an award recipient today, you know how much a team effort, a successful preservation project can be. Without each person's skills and expertise, these projects would never be completed. I've come to learn that in my 7 months here as SHPO and working with the SHPO and MEDC, that I'm lucky to get to work with an exceptionally talented group of colleagues who each have contributed their skills to making today's program a success. So thank you to you all. Just a few initial housekeeping items to keep in mind before we move on to remarks and recognizing these awardees. We are pleased to be celebrating our annual awards program here in Heritage Hall, one that's specifically designed to highlight and honor the architecture and long and rich history of this building. While we celebrate these awards in the room, you may hear voices in the background from time to time. Among the many uses for Heritage Hall, it is the starting point for all elementary school field trips that are touring the building. So if you hear kids' voices, and I can speak from experience, last year I took my son on a field trip and had the same experience. So just be aware that you may hear voices in the background. Finally, please join us following the ceremony for refreshments provided by the Michigan Historic Preservation Network. We thank them for their hospitality. First, I would like to introduce Amy Evans, Chief of Staff and Governance Officer for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, to provide some initial welcoming remarks for the program today. Amy?
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you everybody for joining us today to recognize these amazing accomplishments of historic preservation, which really are the heart and soul of our communities and what makes our communities special. So I will not waste any time. I'm here because I have the honor and privilege of introducing the Lieutenant Governor of our great state of Michigan, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. Come on up.
Thank you very much, Amy and Ryan, to the entire State Historic Preservation Office, the Review Board. It really is a privilege to be here. I get to do this event almost every year, and the reason it's fun for me is because there are so many people doing so many creative and inspiring things across the state of Michigan to recognize, to celebrate, to preserve, but also to extend the life and experience of so many historic sites that we are blessed to have across Michigan. I see this office as being as much about preservation as it is about stewardship and about introducing these sites and experiences to more people who call Michigan home, more people who visit our communities throughout the state of Michigan. And we have so much to offer. And I believe, frankly, we have more to offer than any other state in the country. And I'm proud of the fact that so many people take so much pride in putting in such work, such partnership, such investment to really bring another life for another generation to so many of these places and spaces. And it takes a whole village to make sure that these things can be possible and be successful. And so this celebration today really, I think, is a testament to that village approach, that collective approach that recognizes that we have a shared responsibility
No, is it working? No, no, it's working. Okay, we're good now, I think. Sorry that you had to protect your voice. But I wanted to thank both Amy and Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist for coming today and spending time with us and honoring these projects. I know you all are busy, so I really appreciate it on behalf of the awardees and my office that you were able to come and join us today. The SHPO recognizes that historic resources and archaeological sites tell us about the past and help us define Michigan's unique and diverse identity. Their preservation is vital to Michigan's present and future as they contribute to enhancing the character of communities and understanding of the past. This is why each year for the past 21 years, the State Historic Preservation Office and the State Historic Preservation Review Board have identified worthy recipients to receive the Governor's Awards for Historic Preservation. In that time, over 110 projects from across the state have been awarded with this prestigious accomplishment. I did want to give everybody some background on how awardees are chosen. Projects and sites are first proposed by a committee of SHPO staff, including SHPO leadership. The State Historic Preservation Office then presents the nominees to the State Historic Review Board for consideration. As the governor-appointed body, the review board makes formal recommendation to the State Historic Preservation Officer, myself, to seek approval from MEDC and from the Whitmer administration to present these awards. As far as who can be eligible for these awards, they can include homeowners who have rehabilitated their houses, developers who have transformed underutilized historic structures in their communities into vital economic assets, academic institutions, archaeologists, organizations, or other educational organizations that inspire people to preserve historic buildings and archaeological sites. And finally, policymakers who demonstrate a commitment to historic preservation of historic resources through innovative planning activities. In addition to that, there are certain criteria that each of these awardees have to meet, at least one of these criteria to be included and to be considered for the award. A project that shows a commitment to doing the job right, reflecting the highest preservation standards and ethics. A project that reflects the spirit of cooperation and teamwork, bringing together a variety of stakeholders and partners. A project that has a significant impact on the acquisition of knowledge and are serving the community as a catalyst for change and additional investment in neighborhoods and communities. A project that took advantage of our programs through the SHPO or expertise or from other state incentive programs. And finally, a project that had a strong support from or direct involvement from community members. Ultimately, the intention of these awards is to recognize those groups and individuals that preserve Michigan's important historic and cultural heritage and their resources. These 4 projects all more than meet several of these criteria and exemplify the diversity of resources we have in our state. With it being my first Governor's Award ceremony in my brief tenure here as the State Historic Preservation Officer, it was a great honor to be able to participate in the selection of these 4 awardees and seeing these 4 projects recognized. I will now hand things over to Martha McFarland-Faze, our Deputy Director or Deputy Historic Preservation Officer, to present their awards. So I'll hand it off to Martha.
Thanks, everyone. I am very excited to be up here because this is the fun part of the ceremony today and to see all of your wonderful, happy faces. So it's a great honor. So before we begin, I just wanted to explain a little bit about what is going to happen. We have, for each awardee, we have beautiful short video presentations narrated by State Historic Preservation Office staff members, and they are going to serve as introductions to each of these projects. And when the video ends, then I will invite any legislators present for that community to present brief remarks. And then I will call the recipients up to receive their awards, and those are over here. So we will present those to you, and we can gather and smile and take some pictures together. So, all right. So let's go ahead and start with our first introduction of our award for Hiawatha Lighthouses.
Lighthouses have been guiding ships across the Great Lakes for almost 200 years. Hiawatha National Forest is the only national forest to have a historic lighthouse, and it doesn't just have one or two. The National Forest, which covers about 1 million acres of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, stretching from Lake Superior to Lakes Michigan and Huron, has 6 historic lighthouses. Hiawatha has partnered with nearby stakeholders to help care for these important cultural resources. Their work with the Round Island Lighthouse Preservation Society has assisted with the preservation of this landmark lighthouse near Mackinac Island, repairing metal doors and outbuildings, and installing riprap to protect it from rising lake levels. The Grand Island North Light near Munising will get help implementing public interpretation with a new partnership with the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society. The Point Iroquois Light near Brimley underwent a recent rehabilitation thanks to a creative partnership with HistoriCorps and Youth Work. Adult volunteers and at-risk youth were able to get their hands dirty and learn valuable construction and preservation skills while forging new friendships over 3 summers. The crews repaired damaged brick, reconstructed stone walls, and restored the circular interior stairs at this lighthouse built in 1870. Point Iroquois will also open an Indigenous History Museum, which will share important tribal history with lighthouse visitors, thanks to a new agreement with the Bay Mills Indian community. With established partnerships and secure funding for the next few years to complete needed rehabilitation projects, the Hiawatha National Forest historic lighthouses are poised to be illuminating destinations for years to come.
Our Representative Preston in the room, please come up and say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor for me to present these tributes to the recipients of the 2024 Governor's Award for Historical. There we go. This was a large group involving U.S. Forest Service, Hiawatha National Forest, Round Island Lighthouse Preservation Society, Bay Mills Indian Community, Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum, HistoriCorp, and Youth Work, really enshrining navigational beacons that were used through the turn of the century to keep our ships on the Great Lakes that were moving everything from agricultural goods, timber, mining throughout the Great Lakes and keeping them safe. These groups coming together to do this work demonstrate how we come together in the Upper Peninsula as a community, working for the community to preserve our cultural heritage. Congratulations to everyone involved. It's truly an honor for this. These lighthouses are just something else when you see them in person. And thank you all for your hard work. Are we going back to the seat?
We're going to call up people. Okay. Sorry, thank you. Just hang on. Okay, thank you very much. Is Senator McBroom here? No? Okay. All right, thank you. Well, I'd like to call Representative Preston up again in a moment as we call up the awardees. So accepting the award for the Hiawatha Lighthouse Project, Shannon Ritchie, Forest Supervisor for the Hiawatha National Forest. So we want to, okay. Okay, line up by the poster, thank you. Matthew McMullen, Chairman of the Round Island Lighthouse Preservation Society. Rachel Keys, Ganushahag. No, got it? Okay, thank you. Rachel Keys, Ganushahawning Museum Director. Okay. I hope everybody heard that. Corey Adkins, Content and Communications Director for the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society. Ann Dilcher, Historic Corps Board Member. And Alexis Foote, Southeast Michigan Regional Specialist for Youth Work. Please come forward, receive the award, and take some photos. All right. Next, let's introduce the award for the Keweenaw Time Traveler. Want to start the video?
Mining and forestry have shaped the Keweenaw Peninsula for generations, leaving traces etched on communities. But what was all this history, and what were all of these buildings? Who lived and worked here, and what can the past tell us about the present? To answer these questions, the Keweenaw Time Traveler Project launched in 2017 as an online digital atlas of Michigan's copper country. The project supports heritage preservation, education, and interpretation of the built and social environment of the region. Led by Michigan Technological University in partnership with local organizations, citizen historians, and students from elementary through college, the project connects archival maps with historical data, including building records, city directories, school and mining company employment records, and census records. Hundreds of thousands of records have been mapped and linked, connecting every resident of the region from 1870 through 1940. The Atlas also has a story submission feature, so individuals have a voice in how their history is told. Community members can add their own personal and family knowledge to these important historic themes by adding written stories, oral histories, videos, and images. The results are shared on a layered digital history library accessible by computer, smartphone, and at engaging in-person community programs and tours up and down the Keweenaw. The project has become a leader in public participation story mapping, sharing best practices for building out similar efforts and sharing historic data and knowledge elsewhere in Michigan and far beyond.
Thank you. I don't believe Senator McBroom is here, but Representative Markman, would you like to come and say a few words? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm spoiled rotten because I get to live on the Keweenaw Peninsula. Yeah. But when I was still teaching up in the Keweenaw, I had the pleasure of working for a summer as a teacher ranger at Keweenaw Historical National Park. And one of the things that came up every day, people would come, visitors to the Keweenaw, doing research, doing preservation work, and they'd say, what sources of information do we have here? And I could point them to the Keweenaw Time Traveler. This is an incredible resource for the Keweenaw. It is a source of original, primary, and secondary material that you need to access to be able to do proper preservation work. You go down Main Street of Calumet, it just, I get very emotional because, you know, in 1900 in Calumet, there was 29 different ethnic newspapers being published. 29, Calumet. Preservation there. Calumet is the northern hub of the Keweenaw National Historical Park, and the Time Traveler has played an incredible role, and I know it will continue to do so in the future. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Representative Markman. So I'm going to announce the award recipients, and if you could please hold your applause until everybody is up and standing, and we'll bring the awards over to them. So beginning with the first of our person accepting the award is Dawn Lafreniere, Professor of Geography and GIS and Director of the Keweenaw Time Traveler Project at Michigan Tech. Stand over there. Thank you. This is so awkward. Lindsay Hiltunen, University Archivist at Michigan Tech. Matt Monte, President of Monte Consulting. Lawrence Malloy, past President of Keweenaw County Historical Society. Thank you very much, everyone. Congratulations. Thank you. Wonderful project. All right. Next, I would like to introduce the East Ludington Avenue Historic District.
Ludington was established as a city in 1873, home to a harbor port, a new railroad line, and surrounded by almost endless timber. The thriving city brought lumber barons, ship captains, merchants, and others to the area. Many of the well-to-do chose to build new homes along prominent East Ludington Avenue in popular architectural styles such as Classical Revival and Queen Anne. In the 20th century, the street became part of a highway US 10, bringing visitors heading for Lake Michigan or to the nearby car ferries to Wisconsin into town. After World War II, small motor lodges and tourist cabins infilled along the busy street between some of the grand older homes. The street continues to be the primary gateway into Ludington, but the notable architecture and history were not formally recognized for their significance to the community. Enter Ludington native Ray Madson. Ray returned to the city of his youth after he retired and wanted to do something good for his hometown. He engaged with the community about underwriting the creation of a National Register Historic District for East Ludington Avenue. He also offered a community survey and held several community meetings, inviting preservation experts to meet with homeowners to address their concerns and discuss the benefits of designation, such as access to the State Historic Preservation Tax Credit Program. With support from homeowners and the city government, the district was surveyed and a National Register nomination quickly followed, highlighting the local architecture and tourism industry. A new walking tour of the district has been created, and new signage is on the way to better share the historic district's significance with both residents and visitors to Ludington. Ray's energy changed the conversation about preservation in Ludington, culminating in community enthusiasm ahead of the district being listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 2023.
Thank you. I believe Representative Vanderwal is here.
Well, good morning, everybody. Wow, it is a privilege to be here and have my hometown being recognized. And Ray, thank you for your hard work. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of history of where I came from and how I ended up in Ludington just by chance. And a little over 40 years ago, my wife and I, well, at that time she was my fiance, came and visited Ludington. And I said to my wife, I said, I hope someday I can live in a town like this. And lo and behold, just a few months later, I got promoted in a job and came and ran a local grocery store named Everhard Foods in Ludington, Michigan. And it's been my home for a little over 40 years. And when you drive into our great city of Ludington and you see the homes and you see the history and the beauty, and then when you really dig into it and you see what the logging industry did, what the car ferry did to really put Ludington on the map, today we just fulfilled another dream. And it truly is an opportunity and privilege for me to be here and just say, this is going to go a long ways to continuing to promote Ludington, the city, Mason County. And I just want to say thank you to the hard work of the individuals that made this happen. It is a privilege to be here today and say thank you, and come visit our great town. You'll enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we only have one person, Ray Madson, from a community champion and Ludington resident, who's going to be accepting the award. Thank you. Very exciting. We have one final award to give, and that is for the Malcolm X House.
On the back streets of Inkster, African-American civil rights leader Malcolm X lived in this house with his brother's family from 1952 to 1953. It was during this time that Malcolm Little first met Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam, and was conferred with the X, rising to become one of the leaders of the Black social justice movement in the 1950s and 60s. Despite his transient life, few of the places Malcolm resided remain standing today. Over the decades, this house also fell on hard times, leading it to be marked for demolition. After a multi-year effort, the house was removed from the demolition list, and a substantial rehabilitation project is now underway. Under the leadership of Project We Hope, Dream, and Believe, the house is being transformed into a museum that will focus on the life and significance of Malcolm X, advocacy for empowerment, and as a youth learning center. Although vacant for several years, the form and structure of the modest house are largely intact as it was in the early 1950s when the Littles lived here. A partnership with Wayne State University Anthropology Program was established to conduct archaeological studies on the property, yielding hundreds of 20th century artifacts. The project has been embraced by the community, who have been getting involved every step of the way. Residents worked alongside contractors, volunteers, and Wayne State students as the house is documented and transformed. The house was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 2022, formalizing its historic significance, and the rehabilitation project is expected to be completed in 2024 as an important Inkster destination and place of learning in the community.
Is Senator Polanki here? Yes. Okay.
It's with great pleasure that I extend my congratulations to Project We Hope, Dream, and Believe and Wayne State University's Department of Anthropology for receiving the Governor's Award for Historic Preservation. This occasion is a wonderful opportunity to recognize their work in honoring the legacy of Malcolm X and his service to the city of Inkster. Civil rights champion Malcolm X was known to reside in Inkster from 1952 to 1953 with his brother's family. It was during this time that Malcolm Little deemed Malcolm X and joined the Muslim faith. Not long after, Malcolm X went on to play an essential role in the success of the civil rights movement and made great strides in increasing racial equity in the United States. Malcolm X House is one of the few places left standing where Malcolm X resided, making it an important piece of our nation's history. Originally scheduled for demolition, like many houses in the neighborhood, residents successfully appealed to the city for preservation of the home. And it was eventually listed on the National Register for Historic Places due to the efforts of Project We Hope, Dream, and Believe. So I am happy to present these tributes signed and dedicated to commemorating Project We Hope, Dream, and Believe and Wayne State University's Department of Anthropology for this achievement. And I proudly represent the city of Inkster. May they know of my gratitude for their meaningful work.
I also have Representative Wagela here in the room. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Really happy to be here and proud of the community. I was a history teacher before coming to Lansing, and one of the reasons that I wanted to become a history teacher is to teach true American history, which is often left out of the classroom. To talk about this a little bit, you know, Inkster has one of its own historians, Robert Turley, if anybody knows Robert Turley in the room, but he always talks about Inkster being the place where Malcolm Little became Malcolm X. And, you know, I want to recognize that we have some relatives of Malcolm X today. We have Wilfred Little's granddaughter, I think, daughter here today. So I want to recognize that. And I also want to talk about, you know, Malcolm X is someone who inspired in me to fight for justice for my entire adult life. He's a man who broke with the norms of society to fight for Black liberation. And he taught the world that it is not merely enough to be free, but we must fight for liberation by any means, because you can objectively be free, but that doesn't mean that you feel free in society. And I think those are two historically different things. And his legacy will remind us that it is always the right time to fight for justice by any means necessary. I want to commend Project We Hope and Dream and Aaron Sims. I want to commend Arthur Edge and Wayne State and everybody else involved with this project. So I'm just very proud to be here, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
So, yes, I do want to recognize, as Representative Wegela said, that we have Regina Little Jefferson with us, who is the daughter or the niece of Malcolm X and the daughter of Wilfred Little, along with her son, Jamar Jefferson. So, accepting the award for the Malcolm X House Project, Aaron Sims, Executive Director of Project We Hope, Dream, and Believe. Dr. Tariq Ramadan, Project Manager for Project We Hope, Dream, and Believe. And Dr. Krista Rosinski, Department Chair of Wayne State University Department of Anthropology. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm turning it back over to Ryan Shoemaker, SHPO.
Thank you, Martha, for handling the presentation of the awards, and I congratulate everybody for the who received awards today, and everybody for coming. The press release announcing today's awards will be going out later this morning, shortly after the conclusion of this ceremony. Online, the 4 projects sites will join others previously awarded on our website. Across both peninsulas of Michigan on a map that we have on our website that shows the governors of projects location. You will be able to find that on our website at michigan.gov/SHPO. The SHPO will also be sharing photos and information about today's projects throughout the month of May, and which I had mentioned earlier is National Historic Preservation Month. It'll be shared both on Facebook, Instagram, and what used to be Twitter, but X. Channels. We invite you to share this recognition on social media and tag SHPO as you promote the awards yourself. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the photos that are taken today will be shared with the awardees, so they will have copies of those as well. We invite you to review the award panels while you're here today. Award site property owners, please do take the award panel boards with you as you leave. They are your gift for your award-winning project. At the conclusion of today's program, we invite you to stay for a short reception with refreshments over on the side of the building or the room, which were sponsored by the Michigan Historic Preservation Network. MHPN is the state's nonprofit for historic preservation advocacy and works closely with our office on several initiatives. Each year in May, they host Michigan's statewide Historic Preservation Conference, which is occurring next week. And it's being held this year in the city of Kalamazoo on Western Michigan University's campus. That programming will be occurring from May 9th to the 11th of next week. The conference is a great opportunity to learn about historic preservation and also learn about other successful projects similar to these from around the state. We'd also like to extend our special thanks to several individuals who are in attendance at today's event. Thanks to the legislators who spoke here today. We appreciate your attendance and any legislative aides who made time to attend these events. Special thanks to Governor Whitmer and the Gilchrist administration for both attending and also supporting these award ceremonies and the event today. And also finally to each of the recipients of these awards, we hope that you find a creative way to celebrate these awards in your communities over the summer and beyond. Finally, I wanted to take this moment to recognize and thank some really important people who have not been at the podium today. Almost 24 people contributed to the festivities today, behind the scenes, making sure that today went smoothly. The State Historic Preservation Office extends a special thanks to MEDC's growth and marketing team, the Executive Office of Office and Governance team, Information Technology and Facilities Unit staff, and others for their support of today's award ceremony. Without them today, this would not be possible. I also want to have a special thanks go out to my staff at the State Historic Preservation Office who participated in the awards ceremony, everybody from the awards, setting up and all of that. I appreciate all the work that went into this. I also want to provide a special shout out to Katie Kolakithis over on the side of the room, over near the food. She took over as our normal staff person. Nathan Niedering is out on leave over the next few months. She stepped in and really filled in the role and did an excellent job. So I want to give her congratulations for that. So she kept us in line and on track and on time. So I appreciate that. And then finally, I just wanted to thank everybody today for joining us. And on behalf of the State Historic Preservation Office in the state of Michigan, congratulations to the awardees and have a great day.